After one reckless night, my sister was pregnant with my fiancé's child. On our wedding day, she showed up visibly pregnant, asking if I could give her child a complete family. Everyone urged me to be the bigger person, saying the child was innocent and, besides, the two of them were in love. I was the one standing in their way. I refused. My fiancé, Liam, said nothing, simply having security remove her. Later, my sister, Sophie, died in a car accident, killing both her and her unborn child. Several years later, my husband used my resources and connections to stage a successful comeback, becoming a new star in the business world. On the very day his company went public, after years of trying to conceive, found out I was pregnant. I joyfully took the pregnancy test report to find him, only to overhear him telling a friend, "Sophie and her child are back. I don't want them to have to hide anymore. I'm definitely going to get a divorce." Hearing this, my body went rigid, my hand involuntarily clenching the test report. "But she's been with you for so many years, giving you money and support to help you get back on your feet. If you divorce her now, people in our circle will definitely look down on you." Liam scoffed. At this point, who would dare look down on me? His friend shrugged. "True, but don't you feel the slightest bit of guilt? You've kept Sophie and her son hidden for years while telling everyone they died in a car crash. Your wife has been feeling guilty this whole time. She never even realized you've been secretly giving her birth control pills for years." A shock coursed through me, like I'd been struck by lightning. My mind went blank. Back then, she nearly got Sophie and our son killed. I may not take revenge, but I will never forgive her. Through the crack in the door, I saw his eyes filled with hatred and disgust. "Bro, you'd better be careful. Even though your wife has taken a back seat, she still has connections. If she finds out you betrayed her, she might just burn everything to the ground." Liam's face was contemptuous. "I've been siphoning off her resources and connections for years. Right now, she's nothing more than an old woman who can't even have a baby." In his eyes, I was just an old woman who couldn't have a baby. I gripped the pregnancy report in my hand, the hatred in my heart surging to its peak. For years ago, my half-sister, Sophie, crashed my engagement party, crying that she was pregnant and asking me to give her child a complete family. Of course, I refused. Liam also explained that the night had been a mistake and told Sophie to get rid of the child. Sophie disappeared after that. A few months later, word spread through our social circles that Sophie had died in a car accident in another city. A tragedy of one body and two lives. When my father heard the news, he immediately rushed to the other city to see the situation. Liam also went that same night. They stayed there for half a month before returning. The first thing my father did when he came back was to slap me twice across the face, screaming that I had driven Sophie to her death and that he was disowning me. Liam said nothing the entire time, but the coldness in his eyes terrified me. During that period, I lived in constant fear, terrified that both my father and husband hated me. To win them over, I gave company shares to my father and used my connections and resources to support Liam. In the end, it was all a lie. Just then, someone called out to me, "Ma'am, you're here." As the voice fell, Liam and his friend looked up simultaneously. A flash of panic crossed Liam's eyes, but he quickly composed himself, his tone dripping with disgust. "Since you've heard everything, I won't hide it anymore. Let's get a divorce. I'll compensate you with $5 million. A mere $5 million to make up for my wasted youth." I couldn't even count how many millions I had invested in him. Yet he thought this small sum could cover up his despicable actions and erase my existence. I sneered. "Do you really think you're so powerful now that you can look down on me?" Liam frowned, his mind racing, trying to figure out if I had some leverage or secret on him. He didn't speak for a long moment. "I won't let you get away with this." Throwing those words at him, I turned and left. 3 days later, the stock price of Liam's newly listed company plummeted. It went bankrupt almost as soon as it went public. I sent a clear message throughout our circle. "Liam is an ungrateful dog. Anyone who dares to partner with him against me is my enemy." I was never a saint. If Liam had just told me back then that he and Sophie were in love, I would have let him go. But he was the one who personally told me that he had no feelings for Sophie, that it was all just rumors, and that their night together was a setup. I believed his lies. And this is where it got me. When my best friend heard what I had done, she immediately called me to ask what was going on. I told her the whole story. She exploded with rage on the other end of the phone. He used your connections and resources to get back on his feet. And then he fed you birth control pills behind your back. He's worse than an animal. And that cheap sister of yours. Everyone said she and the baby died. But besides your father and Liam, no one actually saw it. This whole scheme was set up 4 years ago. It just shows how devious they are. The more my friend spoke, the angrier she got, until she eventually started crying from rage. I found myself comforting her. I'm not crying. So why are you? We have plenty of time. We'll settle the score with them slowly. I'm just so upset for you. You and Liam were childhood sweethearts. When his family went bankrupt, he got down on one knee and proposed, promising to love you forever. But then he turned around and got together with Sophie, even having a child with her. Sophie crashed your engagement party and made you a laughingstock. Liam sent her away and explained he was framed. That's how they ended up sleeping together. You believed him. But what was the result? Every step he took was just using you. On my end of the line, tears were streaming down my face, but I held back my sobs, refusing to make a sound. Don't worry, she said firmly. I won't let that scumbag and that witch get away with this. Before I could reply, she hung up. In the afternoon, my mother called. Her tone was serious, laced with a hint of heartache. Why didn't you tell me something so huge happened? My mother had never approved of my marriage to Liam, especially after learning he had a history with Sophie. She couldn't stand the sight of him. My mother and father divorced when I was in elementary school. The reason was that she discovered my father had another daughter, Sophie, who was only 2 months younger than me. My mother acted decisively and filed for divorce. My father was unwilling, or more accurately, he was unwilling to lose the resources of my mother's family. But the other woman was insistent, and he didn't even have a chance to try and win my mother back before the divorce was finalized. I grew up with my mother, but she was very strict and rarely smiled, always busy with work. I always thought she didn't love me because I carried my father's genes. I tried to sound cheerful. It's not a big deal. Uncle already helped me teach him a lesson. The reason Liam's company stock crashed so quickly was because I had asked my uncle for help. My uncle is a reclusive financial titan. I had never mentioned him to Liam, so Liam assumed that apart from my mother's company, I had no other cards to play. The other end of the line went silent. I grew nervous. In that moment, I was scared. I was afraid my mother would say, I warned you back then that Liam was no good, but you wouldn't listen. Now look at you. You deserve this. I wasn't afraid of being scolded. I was afraid of disappointing her. My dear child, you've always overthought things. I've told you before. I will always love you. In an instant, the dam broke. I burst into tears, crying my heart out. I don't know how long I cried, but my mother's voice came through the phone. Whoever raises a butcher's knife to you, you swing it right back at them. Don't be a coward. I will always be a rock. All my anxieties vanished. Mom, thank you. After that conversation, I scheduled a doctor's appointment. At the same time, I planned my next move. 3 days later, Liam was in a car accident. A doctor called me, saying Liam was seriously injured and needed a family member to sign for surgery. After listening, I quietly hung up. A moment later, Liam's assistant called, his voice frantic. Mrs. Hayes. Mr. Hayes's right leg is crushed. His left arm is severely fractured, and he has internal bleeding in his chest. We urgently need you to sign for surgery. Please. Could you come over? What does that have to do with me? I asked. Chloe, how can you be so heartless? Your heart is getting more and more vicious. No wonder Liam wants to divorce you. Sophie had snatched the phone from the assistant. Her cloying, hi, pitched voice came through the line, and I was so disgusted I rolled my eyes. Aren't you supposed to be dead? I mocked. There was a pause. Then she continued. Chloe, I know you hate me. If I had the legal standing to sign for Liam, I would never be begging you right now. What right does a cheap mistress like you have to beg me for anything? I hung up and blocked all their numbers. That evening, my father and Liam's mother came to see me. My father's face was livid. What on earth did you say to your sister? She's threatening to jump off a building with her son. They just came back. Why can't you be a little kinder and leave a poor mother and child alone? I was completely unfazed by his attitude. Have I been too nice to you? I said coolly. Made you think I'm a pushover? I haven't dealt with the mistress yet, but I have time to deal with you. Starting tomorrow. You don't need to go to the company anymore. You're fired. As for the supplementary credit card I gave you, I've already had the bank cancel it. Don't even think about spending another cent of my money. When my father's company went bankrupt years ago, I acquired it, turned it profitable, kept him on as a vice president, and gave him a high-limit supplementary card. In the past, no matter how much money I used to please him, he always had an "I'm doing you a favor by spending your money" attitude. Now, I was done giving him anything. My father's furious expression froze on his face. He couldn't believe those words were coming from the daughter who had always been so dutiful to him. Liam's mother sensed the change in me. Being the two-faced person she was, she put on a heartbroken expression. No wonder you don't care if Liam lives or dies. I see now you're such a cold-blooded person. I only agreed to let you marry into our family because I thought you were kind and filial. It's only been a few years, and you're already showing your true colors. You've disappointed me so much. I sneered. Cut the crap, old woman. After all the things you've taken from me over the years, you dare to turn around and accuse me of not being filial. You're just as nauseating as Liam. When he was out there begging like a dog for business partners, I was the one who pulled him up. The moment he's successful, he gets a big head. Does he really think I'm a pushover? Liam thought he had the upper hand and was eager to bring Sophie and their son into the light. But his impatience ruined everything. And the baby in my womb came at just the right time. If I hadn't been trying to surprise him, I never would have learned the truth. Fate was on my side. Naturally, I was going to fight for myself. Liam's injury was just the beginning. What they owed me, I would take back 1,000 times over. Liam's mother's face turned ugly, but she was a master of disguise. She immediately started scolding Liam. Liam was wrong in this. Don't worry, I will definitely teach him a lesson. You are his only wife. I will never let that mother and son get above you. You're the only daughter in law I recognize. I rolled my eyes dramatically, grabbed a thick stack of photos from a cabinet, and slapped them onto her face. My best friend had given them to me. She had hired a private investigator to follow Liam and his mother. In the photos, Liam's mother was holding a little boy on her lap, amusing him with a toy. Beside them, Liam and Sophie were holding hands, both looking at the boy. They looked for all the world like a happy family of 4. Liam's mother had known about Sophie and the boy all along. She was part of the scheme. Faced with the evidence, she grew visibly flustered. It's just that you've been trying to get pregnant for so many years without any luck. I was anxious for a grandchild, so I reluctantly went to see the boy. How about this? Since you can't have children anyway, why don't you just adopt him? You can raise him as your own. Her words sent a wave of fury through me. I glared at her. Liam has been putting birth control in my food for years. Neither of you ever intended for me to have a child. And now you dare say I can't conceive. You're more disgusting than maggots in a sewer. My accidental pregnancy was likely because Liam had gotten careless, seeing that nothing had happened for years, and forgot to give me that glass of milk one night. Liam's mother didn't expect me to be so sharp. Unable to find another excuse, she quickly turned to my father for help. My father had been on his phone the whole time, probably contacting people at the company to confirm if he was really fired. You probably haven't checked your email. The termination letter was sent to you already. I reminded him sweetly. After reading the letter, my father finally confirmed he was fired. He had recently taken a month of paid leave, claiming he was unwell, so he thought he was still on vacation. Don't think I care about that vice president position. If you hadn't begged me to take it, I would have started my own business long ago. From now on, even if you get on your knees and beg me, I'll never go back to that pathetic company. Even at this point, my father was still trying to save face. I sneered. The house you're living in was bought by me. I'm giving you 3 days to move out. I'll have someone come to repossess it. My father was furious, but his pride wouldn't let him beg me. He gritted his teeth. Fine. I'll move out. I have plenty of other places to live. Having gained nothing, the two of them finally left in disgrace. A few days later, a video went viral online. A woman, holding a child, was shown kneeling and bowing her way from the foot of a mountain all the way up to a temple. When someone asked why, she tearfully explained that her child was sick and she was praying to Buddha for his recovery. People were moved by her devotion, hailing her as the most beautiful mother. In the video, she wore an elegant, moon-colored cheongsam, slit to her calf. Her hair was seemingly casually pinned up with a hairpin, but every detail was meticulously styled. Her makeup look made her look even more pitiable and lovely. Her beauty and piety immediately caught the media's attention. She quickly became an internet sensation. Soon, someone discovered that she was the long-lost younger daughter of the Lin family. Suddenly, she became even more mysterious. She gained a following online, led by certain individuals. Her fans began to idolize her, speculating that she was the hidden wife of some tycoon, praying for her child's health. Even the media gave her a label, the Cheongsam goddess. Amidst the cheers, Sophie finally appeared on social media. She still had her simple makeup, but she wore an emerald necklace. Someone recognized the necklace as one that had been auctioned off by a foreign tycoon, which further fueled the speculation about her powerful connections. Sophie never explained anything. Her low-key demeanor only made her more popular. In just a few days, she had millions of followers. My best friend forwarded the news to me. This little witch is pretty good at marketing herself. I'll let her enjoy it for a couple more days. I skimmed the articles and a plan began to form in my mind. Half a month later, Liam finally called me. He had been waiting for me to back down. After all, I had been his devoted follower for so long. Now that I had stopped, he probably thought I was playing hard to get, only to see his company on the brink of collapse. "How long are you going to keep this up?" he started, his tone accusatory. I hung up immediately. The next second, the phone rang again. "I miss you. Can you please come and see me?" Liam's arrogant tone was gone, replaced by a pleading, wronged voice. I used to fall for this act. When he proposed, he said, "Everyone looks down on me, but I want to prove them wrong. Will you stay by my side? Will you marry me?" I wore a white wedding dress and walked straight into hell. He was the beginning of all my misfortune. "If you die," I said coldly, "I can send you a coffin, out of respect for our past marriage." He was stunned. "Do you really hate me that much? Sign the divorce papers and mail them to me." Liam had been stalling, partly waiting for me to cool down and partly because he was afraid I'd demand a divorce. Our relationship was now mostly a business arrangement. He thought he had neutralized my power, but he never expected that my anger would bring his company to the verge of bankruptcy. He wouldn't dare to divorce me now. "I'm not getting a divorce. I love you." His sweet nothings had become lies, tools to manipulate me. I suddenly wanted to ask him, "Did you ever truly love me?" But as the words reached my lips, it all seemed pointless. A question asked only to invite more pain. He sensed I was about to hang up and quickly added, "It's not as complicated with Sophie as you think. When she got pregnant, she ran off to a strange place to die. Some kind person saved her. I couldn't bear to see her and the baby die, so I planned to let her have the child, send her abroad, and have my relatives raise the baby. But things didn't go as planned. Sophie is too cunning. She took lots of pictures of me with the child and threatened me. If I didn't support them on the side, she'd send the pictures to you." That was his explanation. He must have thought it would be enough to smooth things over. After all, for a proud man like him to stoop to explaining so much, I was supposed to forgive him. I remained silent for a long time. He grew annoyed. "I've explained myself. Believe it or not, that's your choice. But I hope you won't mix business with personal matters." I had my people look into it. A relatively unknown tycoon was behind the stock market crash. But I never expected it to be your uncle. "Are you trying to destroy the company we built together just to get back at me? You destroyed my life. Why can't I destroy your company?" I retorted. He was speechless. So he resorted to emotional blackmail. "We're husband and wife. We should be tolerant of each other. You have a bad temper and poor health. But I've never complained. Why can't you just give me one chance to make things right?" He really thought I couldn't have children. Without another word, I took a picture of my pregnancy report and sent it to him. Before he could respond, I hung up and blocked his number. The next morning, I made a rare appearance on a financial news program. At the end of the segment, I gently touched my stomach and, with a maternal glow, announced that I was going to be a mother. I said I wouldn't be appearing in the media for the next year to focus on my pregnancy. The news of my pregnancy quickly spread through our circles. Not long ago, I had declared war on Liam. Now, with the pregnancy announcement, many assumed he had managed to win me back. That's when my best friend made her move. She posted a long, emotional exposé on social media. In summary, Liam had a 3 or 4-year-old son with another woman. To secure his son's position, he had been secretly giving me birth control for a long time, hoping to ruin my health. Unexpectedly, I still got pregnant. She urged me to get an abortion and divorce Liam. The post went viral. What started as gossip in the financial world became a trending topic, known to everyone. I remember at the Hayes Lynn engagement party, the younger Lynn daughter showed up pregnant, claiming the baby was her brother-in-law's and asking her sister to give him up. It was a huge scandal at the time, but the news disappeared quickly. I never knew if it was true or not. The Hayes family went bankrupt, and it was the elder Miss Lynn's family who bailed them out. And the moment the young Mr. Hayes got back on his feet, he kicked his wife to the curb. He never loved his wife. Didn't you see he fed her birth control for years? That man is devious and cruel. I feel so bad for the elder Miss Lynn. She shouldn't keep the baby, right? After taking all those pills, it might have birth defects. Soon, people realized that the new internet celebrity with millions of followers was the very same younger Lynn's sister they were discussing. A flood of people rushed to Sophie's social media accounts. Are you the mistress who crashed her own sister's wedding while pregnant? No wonder your son is sick. You deserve it. That viral video of you was probably staged, wasn't it? It was shot so beautifully, clearly by a professional. We've all been duped. She's just a master of self-promotion. And that emerald necklace in her second viral video. It was exposed as a fake a long time ago. But her delusional fans just kept defending her. Once doubt took root, it was relentlessly scrutinized. Sophie didn't dare to respond. She closed her comments section. As the scandal grew, she posted a vague statement about her conscience being clear, but kept the comments off. That evening, Sophie showed up at my door with her son. Chloe, for years ago you almost got me killed. For years later, you're doing it again. Spreading rumors. Do I have to die for you to finally leave me alone? She cried tragically. The boy beside her glared at me, spitting. You're a bad woman. You made my mommy cry. You should just go die. I stood impassively at the door, watching her performance. If I wasn't mistaken, she was wearing a recording device. If she wanted to create rumors, she needed evidence, even if it was edited. After crying for a while and seeing me unmoved, Sophie realized I had seen through her plan. She wiped her tears and snarled. Don't think you've won. As long as I have my son, you can't touch my position. I deliberately looked down at my own belly. Sophie's venomous gaze landed on my stomach. So, what if you're pregnant? She said menacingly. Liam loves me. He adores me and our son. He doesn't love you. And he won't love your child either. If you give birth to it, it will just be a fatherless baby. With that, she took the boy's hand and turned to leave. They hadn't taken more than a few steps when, on Sophie's subtle cue, the boy suddenly ran back and charged straight at my stomach. I was prepared. The moment he rushed me, I dodged aside. The boy missed and crashed into the hot water kettle I had placed by the door. With a loud splash, the freshly boiled water tipped over, scalding him. The boy shrieked in pain, writhing on the floor. Sophie ran over, seeing her son's burns. She immediately started flinging accusations at me. I can't believe you'd throw boiling water on a child. I'm calling the police to arrest you. Sophie made 2 calls, but neither was to the police. Worried about trouble, I called building security and the police myself. Soon, Liam and my father arrived at the same time. Liam was in a wheelchair, pushed by his assistant. Seeing his nephew burned, my father was overcome with distress. Egged on by Sophie's version of events, he swung his hand to slap me. I didn't let him. I dodged and slapped him back. My father was stunned. This was the second time I had fought back against him. The first was with words. The second was with violence. I looked up at him, a smile on my face. Sober now, utterly humiliated. My father lunged at me, but the security guards blocked him. All of you, get out of the way. If he dares to touch a single hair on my daughter's head today, I'll have one of his hands broken." A commanding voice echoed from a short distance away. My mother had arrived, flanked by 3 bodyguards. She strode towards my father in her high heels. My father froze, his hand still raised in the air. Slap. My mother slapped him across the face. "Sober now?" she asked. My father snapped back to reality. Even after being hit, he didn't dare to retaliate. He swallowed his anger and asked, "What are you doing here?" My mother ignored him, walked over to me, and looked me up and down. Seeing I was unharmed, she turned back to my father. "Why can't I be here? My daughter is being bullied to this extent. She doesn't have a father to help her. So I, her mother, must step in and demand justice." Do you know what she did? She threw boiling water on a little boy. That's her own nephew. How could she be so cruel? My father roared. Just then, the police arrived. Sophie pointed at me. "Arrest her. She threw boiling water on a child. My son is dying because of her." The police asked who had called. I said it was me. I also informed them that I had a security camera inside my apartment aimed directly at the doorway, which had recorded everything that just happened. Sophie's face paled, making the excuse that her son was badly injured and needed to go to the hospital. She scooped him up and rushed off. My father followed them. Liam glanced at me, seeming to understand something. "If you had nothing to do with this, I will get you justice." My mother threw a set of divorce papers in his face. "I had these drawn up. I'm giving you 1 day. If I don't have a response by this time tomorrow, your company can prepare for bankruptcy. I'm not as gentle as my brother, who only gave you a little lesson. I will make you understand the meaning of a fate worse than death." My mother's ultimatum was a public humiliation. Liam looked up at me, waiting for me to give him an out. I walked to my mother's side, linked my arm through hers, and said sweetly, "Mom, it was my fault last time for not handling it better. It had nothing to do with Uncle." My mother pinched my nose and smiled indulgently, saying nothing. Liam's face was as black as thunder. A thought seemed to strike him. "You're pregnant. Whose is it?" Even now, he was trying to trap me into defending myself. I looked at him coldly, silent. "You're about to be a mother yourself. To plot against a child like this. You're too cruel." Liam condemned me. I grabbed a handful of his hair and slapped him across the face several times. If his assistant hadn't intervened, I would have beaten him senseless. In that moment, I regretted ever loving him. I hated my past, blind self with an intensity that burned. Sophie spread rumors online, claiming I had thrown boiling water on her son and disfigured him. Her tearful story garnered some support, but most netizens were rational and waited for more information, coming to my social media page to ask what happened. I said nothing, simply uploading the security footage. The full, unedited 30-minute video left Sophie with nothing to say, but she still found an excuse. "You deliberately put the kettle by the door. You wanted to hurt my son." I replied, "You reap what you sow." Anyone with eyes could see it was her son who had suddenly run back, charging at my stomach with all his might, trying to make me fall and miscarry. A child can't be jailed. And afterward, they could just use the excuse that he was too young to know any better. This was undoubtedly orchestrated by his mother. Still, some people called me vicious for using such a method against a child, cursing my unborn baby to die a terrible death. I ignored all these paid trolls, but that didn't stop me from quickly terminating my pregnancy. A month later, after my recovery period, my best friend came to visit. She filled me in on a lot. Sophie had tried to demand compensation from me but couldn't find me. She resorted to insulting me online, which completely destroyed her public image and got her banned from all platforms. Her plan to cash in on her fame had failed, leaving her with nothing but a ruined reputation. I hadn't been online for the past month, so this was all news to me. Liam's company went bankrupt. Your mom is truly a powerhouse. With one move, she cut off all his escape routes. Liam wanted to beg you for help, but he couldn't find you. So he went to your mom's company and knelt, pleading for mercy. His leg had just started to heal, but after kneeling for a day, it relapsed. He has a permanent limp now. Liam still hadn't divorced me. His refusal to sign the papers was what prompted my mother's decisive action. However, I had already filed a lawsuit for divorce, and your father is so shameless. After he was fired, he actually tried to go back to your company to work. When security threw him out, he tried to pull rank on them. Your mom had to go over and beat him up before he finally stopped. I sighed, not feeling particularly happy. I couldn't understand. We were both his daughters. Why did he adore Sophie and despise me? When my mother married him, she treated him well and was a dutiful daughter-in-law to his parents. Yet he still preferred the woman he had on the side. Perhaps that was the power of an unforgettable first love. He loved her, and he loved the daughter she gave him even more. Seeing my somber mood, my friend changed the subject to lighter, more amusing topics. A year passed in a flash. During that year, I traveled the world. If someone had told me Liam was in a car accident and dying, I wouldn't have even remembered who he was. After returning to the country, I went to see him one last time. The once ambitious and vibrant man was now wasting away on a hospital bed. He mumbled incoherently, "I'm sorry." Looking at his living death, I replied, "So this is how it ends for you. A fitting fate for what you've done." The outcome he got was the one he had earned. With that, I left. My father and Sophie's mother divorced. Or rather, the woman ran off. She couldn't handle being poor, so she took all the money in the house and left with Sophie, abandoning the little boy with my father. My father couldn't even support himself, let alone the boy. So he dumped him with Liam's family. Liam's mother refused to raise him. She was frightened by the scars on his body, calling him unlucky, a little monster. Later, the boy was passed off to other relatives, and no one ever spoke of him again. Another year later, my divorce was finalized. In another country, I began a new, happy, and fulfilling life.